10 Most Realistic Jutsu, ranked by usability. The jutsu techniques in Naruto are as powerful as they are limitless. While many are over the top, there are a few that are both realistic and usable. There's something that pretty much every new fan eventually learns about Naruto. After a point, the series isn't about ninja anymore. Instead, it turns into a series with beings who possess such incredible power that they wouldn't be out of place in a series like Yu Yu Hakusho or Dragon Ball Z. The ninja in the story employ a special technique known as jutsu, the variety and powers of which are practically limitless. However, not every jutsu is over the top, over the course of the series' long and successful run. A lot of techniques are introduced that are completely realistic. Some of them might be amplified due to their inherent strength, but nearly all of them are usable in their own ways. 10. The Shadow Shuriken technique makes it harder for targets to dodge both attacks. If two shuriken are placed directly under one another, it is possible to dodge one of them but the other is significantly more difficult to avoid. Meaning that the target will end up being hit by either one or both of them. Interestingly, the effects of the Shadow Shuriken Jutsu can be cancelled out if the target realizes that there is more than one shuriken being used. Although it's realistic compared to other outlandish techniques, it isn't very practical to use, as most people wouldn't be able to fire off both shuriken at the same time. 9. Zabuza's flying revolving sword is as simple dangerous as throwing a heavy metal blade. Introduced in the manga and named in the Ultimate Ninja Storm games, the flying revolving sword technique is utilized by Zabuza. He throws his Kobikurikocho blade, which proceeds to spin until it strikes his opponent. Technically anyone can use this move, and throwing swords is something included in more than a few forms of martial arts in fiction. But it's just not a smart idea. Most people could dodge it if they saw it coming, while those not skilled enough to dodge can be dealt with in easier manners. 8. Silent killing is all about stealth. This technique is kind of lazy, but it's also an incredibly straightforward technique. Sneak up on the opponent and kill them. When people first started watching Naruto, it's likely they believed much of the story would be about stealthy tactics like this before the series started introducing all the powers that made them look less like ninja and more like characters with flashy superpowers. 7. Leaf coiling wind is possible for any skilled b-boy. This bit of taijutsu popped up in an episode of Naruto Shippuden, and featured Guy getting on his head and spinning with his legs out. The move is an offensive move, but Guy used it to clear out some mist from an area around him. Clearing up the mist might be impossible for a human being, but what's not impossible is the actual attack itself. People have been doing handstands and spinning for decades, so any b-boy should be capable of performing this jutsu. 6. Dynamic entry is Might Guy's powerful jump kick. Dynamic entry is one of the most realistic jutsu in all of Naruto. Introduced by Might Guy, the attack is just a straight-up jump kick. He pops in and kicks the user in the face. Drop kicks aren't particularly practical, but they've been used in fights before and are a constant part of stuff like modern professional wrestling. The only unrealistic part is that Might seems to be able to get massive height on his own while a human would obviously need some kind of aid. 5. Leaf drop brings down a kick onto the target. Leaf drop is another super simple move that looks impressive because it was used by someone with anime strength. It's a move that's bringing a kick down on someone or something. In certain situations, a leaf drop wouldn't be a bad move, like breaking someone's guard because of the sheer force of the move. This is a move where the major challenge is finding the time to use it. And also being able to get one's leg that high up to begin with. 4. Leaf coiling whirlwind involves two simultaneous roundhouse kicks. Leaf coiling whirlwind is another all-too-realistic move that would believably work on anyone. Might Guy and Rock Lee both perform a roundhouse kick on a single target. Roundhouse kicks work in real life, and the hardest thing about this technique would be just timing things out with someone to hit the roundhouse at the same time. Of course, that's something that would come naturally to someone constantly sparring with their teacher or friend. And so this is very reasonable for certain pairs to do. 3. Leaf gale is used to sweep unsuspecting victims off their feet. The leaf gale is literally just a sweep kick done to an opponent that isn't paying attention. Sweep kicks are a common part of kick-based martial arts. And the fact that these are done on opponents who aren't looking at them makes all that much more sense. There's a spin to it for flair, but this isn't necessary in real life. 2. 1000 Years of Death is a children's prank. Here's a fun fact, the 1000 Years of Death technique is also referred to as a kancho, and in Japan, it was once something kids did as a prank. By forming the tiger seal, a ninja gets behind their opponent and shoves 4 fingers into their opponent's backside. It's more comedic than anything else, but it's definitely possible to do in real life even if no one should ever do it. It's incredibly invasive and wouldn't be used in a real fight, but as a prank, which would probably take things from jokes to very serious depending on the person. The 10,000 years of death is pretty much always usable. But would anyone really want to utilize this technique while fighting? 1. Leaf rock destroying rise is a fancy name for elbowing someone. Again, this is a case of Might Guy just using regular martial arts and giving them unique names. In fairness, there's a tradition for this, so Guy isn't too far off from what was actually done when martial arts were created. In this instance, the rock-destroying rise involves slamming one's elbow into their opponent. The move is powerful enough to destroy coral, but that again is down to these characters being superhuman. Still, the move itself can be performed without being super strong.